if everything is yourself, if everything and everyone is yourself pushed out, then the only thing to do would be to love everything in your experience.
Welcome to the Divine Hangout. I'm your host, Hillary Jubilee. It is my intention that when you listen to this podcast, you experience an increase in peace, abundance, and divine miracles in your life experience. If you love all things spirituality, wellness, healing, manifestation, and miracles, you are in the exact right place at the exact right time. Let's enter the portal together.
Hello, and welcome back to the Divine Hangout. Today it is the first solo episode that is not a Course in Miracles lesson. So I just had a download for this video today, so I thought I would run with the intuitive hit and make this episode. This is episode 22, I believe, so that's exciting. And this, as you can tell from the title, episode is about the concept of everyone is you pushed out, which is a Neville Goddard concept. If you don't know who Neville Goddard is, he's passed at the moment. Like he's not in in this current day physically on this planet, but he was a lecturer and metaphysical teacher in the 50s and 60s. And he taught on the Bible, but the way that I interpret it, it's not in a religious way, it's more of a spiritual way. One of the concepts that he talks about from within the Bible is that all of the characters in the Bible are states of consciousness and not real people. And he talks about like how we move through all of the states of consciousness in the Bible. And basically the Bible shows us how to manifest. And side note, there's a story, there's an Audible book that I don't believe you can get, a physical book. It's called How to Manifest Your Desires by Neville Goddard. And at the beginning of that book, he tells a story from the Bible about Esau and Jacob or something that are brothers. And basically the point of the story is that feeling is the secret. And it's this whole biblical story about how the father is blind and he sends the older son out to go hunting and bring him back something. But the other son wants the reward that the father's going to give him. So he like pretends to be the older brother by like putting the fur of a dead animal on his face because the brother had a beard and he had anyway, so he's just saying like, this is kind of like a long rambly thing, sorry. But like one of the premises is like, I'm just saying like he uses Bible stories and characters as, symbolic messages, and which I think is really cool. Anyway, that's not what this episode is about. But one of the concepts that is based in Neville Goddard, his teachings is everyone is you pushed out. So what does that mean? It means that everything that you perceive, everything that you perceive in your physical reality, including your own body. So like your body is a reflection of your consciousness, your environment, your experiences, the people that you interact with, everyone is the self pushed out. Okay, so that's kind of the premise that he talks about. And I'm just going to read a little excerpt of one of his lectures that kind of explains how he talks about it. And then I'm going to read an excerpt from The Nature of Personal Reality, which is the Seth book by Jane Roberts. And Jane Roberts channeled this entity named Seth. And Seth brings in a lot of universal wisdom. I love channeling and things like that. So there's a few different Seth books, but The Nature of Personal Reality is I think the second one that you're supposed to read. The first one is Seth Speaks. Anyway, they're really amazing. I was listening to it on Audible actually because I find it easier to just listen to a book when I can just drive and listen. Although I love reading, I'm on the go a lot. So anyway, on the book, but so I'm gonna read a little excerpt, and there's correlations between imagination creates reality. Everyone is you pushed out. So I'm just gonna like draw the conclusions and the similarities between these two entities or these two people and these ideas. Okay, so from Neville Goddard's he has a lot of his lectures are in his own voice on YouTube, which is really awesome that you can listen to. So I'll link that down below from this, but like There's similar excerpts in 2 different lectures. So one of them's called All Things Exist, and that one's in 1968, and then All That You Behold in 1969, and those are both Neville Goddard lectures. So the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. All that you behold, though appears without, is within. In your own wonderful human imagination, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow. And the quote within that, all that you behold, though it appears without, is within, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow, is actually a William Blake quote that Neville Goddard is quoting. So this is a Neville Goddard lecture, but that quote within there is originally said by William Blake. And here's another excerpt from one of his actual lectures. If you will but enter a state in your imagination and assume its truth, the outer world will respond to your assumption, for it is your shadow, forever bearing witness to your inner imaginal activity. Okay, so that is the Neville Goddard take on everyone is the self pushed out. And in the lecture that I'm gonna link down below that you can listen to, he tells a story about somebody who has a belief and that they believe something and that's getting reflected out into their reality, and then they choose to affirm the opposite belief. And even though she doesn't currently believe that belief, she's told to say the new belief and convince herself of the new belief, and then that new belief gets outpictured into her reality. Okay, so imagination creates reality. What you think, say, feel, believe, and how you act make up your state of being, which creates your reality. Okay, all right, now the nature of personal reality, Jane Roberts, Seth book. I'm going to read a little bit from chapter 2. This is page 22 of this book. No, it isn't. This is page 20 of The Nature of Personal Reality. Okay, so let's listen to this. There is one belief, however, that destroys artificial barriers to perception, an expanding belief that automatically pierces false and inhibiting ideas. Now, separately, the self is not limited. That statement is a statement of fact. It exists regardless of your belief or disbelief in it. Following this concept is another. There are no boundaries or separations of the self. Those that you experience are the result of false beliefs. Following this is the idea that I have already mentioned. You make your own reality. To understand yourself and what you are, you can learn to experience yourself directly apart from your beliefs about yourself. What I would like each reader to do is to sit quietly, close your eyes, try to sense within yourself the deep feeling tones that I mentioned earlier in the 613th chapter or session in chapter 1. This is not difficult to do. Your knowledge of their existence will help you recognize their deep rhythms within you. Each individual will sense these tones in his or her own way, so do not worry about how they should feel. Simply tell yourself that they exist, that they are composed of the great energies of your being made flesh. Then let yourself experience. If you are used to terms like meditation, try to forget the term during this procedure. Do not use any name. Free yourself from concepts and experience the being of yourself and the motion of your own vitality. Do not question, is this right? Am I doing it correctly? Am I feeling what I should feel? This is the book's first exercise for you. You are not to use other people's criteria. There are no standards but your own feelings. No particular time limit is recommended. This should be an enjoyable experience. Accept whatever happens as uniquely your own. The exercise will put you in touch with yourself. It will return you to yourself. Whenever you are nervous or upset, take a few moments to sense this feeling tone within you, and you will find yourself centered in your own being, secure. When you have tried this exercise several times, then feel these deep rhythms go out from you in all directions, as indeed they do. Electromagnetically, they radiate out through your physical being, and in ways that I hope to explain later, they form the environment that you know, even as they form your physical image. I told you that the self was not limited, yet surely you think that your self stops where your skin meets space, that you are inside your skin, period. Yet, your environment is an extension of yourself. It is the body of your experience coalesced in physical form. The inner self forms the objects that you know as surely and automatically as it forms your finger or your eye. Your environment is the physical picture of your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs made visible. Since your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs move through time and space, you therefore affect physical conditions separate from you. Consider the spectacular framework of your body just from the physical standpoint. You perceive it as solid, as you perceive all other physical matter. Yet, the more matter is explored, the more obvious it becomes that within it, energy takes on specific shape in the form of organs, cells, molecules, atoms, electrons, each less physical than the last, each combining in mysterious gestalt to form matter. The atoms within your body spin. There is constant commotion and activity. The flesh that seems so solid turns out to be composed of swiftly moving particles, often orbiting each other, in which great exchanges of energy continually occur. The stuff, the space outside your body, is composed of the same elements, but in different proportions. There is a constant physical interchange between the structure you call your body and the space outside it, chemical interactions, basic exchanges without which life as you know it would be impossible. Okay, I think that's enough. Just hit 11:11 on my timer. This book is amazing. Highly recommend. But as you can see, when I started reading a little bit more slowly, the first bit about like meditation without the name is just the first exercise that the book is talking about, which is highly beneficial. But just the premise that you do not stop where your skin meets space. I heard that on Audible, and the idea for this video came to be. So hopefully that helps somebody. You know what? Another premise that this ties into, which I'm sure it's infinite because all is one. But I did a course on Ho'oponopono, which was ran by Dr. Hu Len and Joe Vitale. And Dr. Hu Len, I'll just quickly say this, sorry, I go on side rants, but Dr. Hu Len basically, he teaches about Ho'oponopono, or I think he's passed now, but Ho'oponopono is basically it's part of a Hawaiian prayer. I will say that there's more to it, and it's more of like a family dynamics thing it's a cultural thing where they problem solve. And so there's more to it, but part of it that has kind of gone mainstream through law of attraction, things like that, is called Ho'oponopono. It's a prayer of 4 phrases, which is just simply, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. It's just a 4-phrase prayer that you say. And then the premise of Ho'oponopono is that you're cleaning using that prayer. So anything and everything that happens, like just repeating that in your mind, like let's say that you get an email that's unfavorable and it's giving you an emotional reaction. So you would clean on the situation and you would just say the prayer, and you don't even need to say all 4 phrases. If I'm sorry and please forgive me don't resonate with you and you're having some weird beliefs about saying I'm sorry or something, you could just say thank you, thank you, thank you, which is also a Neville Goddard thing. Or you could just say I love you, or thank you, I love you, whatever. But where am I going with this? I'm just trying to explain what Ho'oponopono is, because I'm going to explain Dr. Hu Len and a piece of the course that I took. So there's a 4-phrase prayer. You can use it to clean on the physical environment or your reaction, and the idea being that it will smooth everything out because you're cleaning everything, whatever is like an appearance of something that is unwell or isn't right. If you just clean on it and say the prayer, the Ho'oponopono prayer on it, then all things will automatically smooth themselves out. So anyway, part of that course was Dr. Hu Len talked about everything having consciousness, and how when he drives on the road, he talks to things, like he'll talk to the road itself and thank it for his travels, or an airplane having consciousness, and like before boarding the plane, like sending it love or talking to it. And like this sounds maybe a little out there, but if you're here listening, hopefully you're as metaphysical as I am. But totally, like it's like if everything is yourself, if everything and everyone is yourself pushed out, which I know beyond a doubt that is true because of my experience and playing around with this, then the only thing to do would be to love everything in your experience. The only thing to do would be to accept and love everything that you come in contact with, everything, everyone. Like, if you see something that's undesirable, realize, like, if you're judging them, they're a reflection of you, your own wonderful human imagination. They're just a reflection of something within yourself. So if you have some sort of judgment or criticism, anything that you say to somebody else, judging them or condemning them, it's insanity, because you're just talking to yourself. Just think of everything and everyone as a reflection of yourself, and treating even inanimate objects with care and with love. And just imagine the impact that can have on your experience. Another amazing thing that Dr. Hulen did, just as a side note, is that it was a hospital in Hawaii. It was a mental hospital in Hawaii. So all of these men, I think it was just men, were in there, I believe, for terrible crimes like rape and murder, and like they were like the worst of the worst, okay? And they're all in chains and everything, and like you couldn't even walk down the hallway and feel safe because they would like lunge at you and things like that. It was just like aggressive. And like the building itself, like the paint was peeling, and like all the plants were dying, and like the toilets would just randomly flush, and it was like really eerie, like activity and bad vibes going on in the building. And Dr. Hulen went there. I guess they asked him to go there, and he didn't meet with the prisoners at all. He looked at their files and he cleaned on their files. So all he did was like look through what they did, like their terrible crimes, and he cleaned on them. And the idea is like, I'm sorry for whatever is within me that is causing this appearance. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. So you're not saying like, yeah, it's like everything is like taking 100% responsibility for your reality, whether that appears to be somebody else's doing. You're cleaning on that and taking full 100% responsibility. Is another piece of Ho'oponopono. Anyway, all of these ideas are like intersecting in the premise that consciousness is the only reality. Imagination creates reality. Everything, everyone is yourself pushed out. And you do not end where your skin meets space. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Hopefully that you gained some sort of glimmer of insight from this, because I had to download to make this video / episode 22. So I think I will end it there, because I will ramble on for a lot longer. So I'll just stop it now. Thank you for listening. And again, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, if you could leave a 5-star review for me, I would love that. And if you want to see the video, you can go to YouTube and watch my videos as well as listen on wherever podcasts are streamed. Love you. See you in the next one. Bye.